We stand strong together. We believe in hope, in humanity, and in our nation. Where others see obstacles, we make solutions.
I'd walked into the office and I was looking down at the street and I could just see queues of people. Some of them were just lying there, like literally holding their chest, trying to get oxygen in. It was at that point that I thought, what can we do? I joined healthcare because my biggest fear is being helpless.
When you're a swimmer and you get tired of swimming up and down lanes, then you consider swimming up and down.
At the heart of who you are, it's a passionate South African sports star.
Yes.
Sport feeds your soul.
Yes.
And it's
Don't give up. Don't give up. It feels like the end of the world. It's lonely. It's hard. But just don't give up.
We've heard from Dr. Samke Ngcobo about the importance of looking after your mental health, and here are 5 savvy solutions to help you on your journey. Number 1, make sure to assess your needs and select a medical aid that caters to your specific requirements and condition. Number 2, you want to make sure that you're selecting comprehensive cover that covers you for both in-hospital and out-of-hospital care and needs. Number 3, remember that not all medical aids are the same, and you want to choose one that has a rich mental health benefit and also ensure that the option you're choosing covers you for your mental health needs. Number 4, make sure to use the support services that are offered by your medical aid, such as Profmed's well-being offering. And point number 5, remember that prevention is better than cure. So make sure to keep a log of any changes in your sleep patterns, your eating habits, or even your productivity at work so that you can seek out the right professional help before issues manifest.
Absolutely, Samke. You see, those savvy solutions are the way to go. Thank you to our wonderful guest, Dr. Samke Ngcobo, for sharing her insights and her experiences with us today. And most importantly, thank you to you, our Savvy Squad, for tuning in.
And before we go, remember to explore Profmed, a medical aid provider that understands the unique needs of professionals and offers comprehensive mental health benefits. Visit www.profmed.co.za. Listen, Khonsi is a graduate who is all about her business. And if you missed out on what she said, then you will want to catch a replay of this episode and listen out to these savvy solutions that we took from her. Number 1, do your research. Don't just accept what your employer has offered you, but do your research to understand what is in the market and understand what the difference is between the options that are available. Number 2, get covered sooner rather than later. You want to make sure that you have your medical aid in place before you need to go to the hospital or get your day-to-day care, like your contraceptives or your glasses. Number 3, understand the benefits. Medical aid has so many benefits that are different to the benefits that are available on medical insurance. And when you are considering which medical aid to choose, consider your affordability. There are many entry-level medical aid options that actually are not as expensive as we may think. Number 4, make sure that you're choosing a medical aid that helps you to manage your savings with a flexible savings facility. An example is the PPS wallet that Profmed offers for those unexpected co-payments when you're hospitalized, etc. But with Profmed, there are actually no co-payments on hospitalization.
Which is revolutionary.
So if you're going to choose a medical aid, make sure that you look out for such exclusions, whether the co-payment is covered or not. And then number 5, Profmed offers preventative care. We mentioned with Khonsi how she is on contraception. Y'all know that I was not on contraception in uni. That's how I had my baby. Things I wish I knew, okay? So make sure you've got medical aid that covers that and that is available on which option you choose.
Thanks so much, Samke. And you know, savvy graduates, I hope you heard that. Make sure you are adequately covered. Thanks to our guest Khonsi for joining us today on Medical Aid 101 for graduates. And thank you, Savvy Squad, for tuning in.
As always, before we go, make sure that you get yourself up to speed about what medical aid benefits are available on Profmed, which is a medical aid specifically for professionals and a medical aid that understands graduates' needs. Visit www.profmed.co.za for more.
When I'm at a church, somebody would ask me, don't you get angry with God because he gave you a disability? What motivates you? How do you get up from a down? All of us experience down moments. The difference between you and somebody else is that you actually get up and you do the things you need to do, even though you don't want to do them.
Okay, so 8 months ago we were in a tough place. So we had an injury, or Luzon had an injury, that means we have an injury.
I tore my ATFL on my right ankle 2 weeks before I had to compete at the World Championships.
Luzon is so tough, she sort of wanted to grit through it. Eventually we had to go for scans and we had to go for rehab and all of those kind of things. Through Profmed we managed to solve it.
Headspace is a very real thing for many athletes, and I think competing and having more people know who you are, it does add some pressure, especially as a Paralympic athlete. People think you're just going to go and you're going to bring back bags of medals. But I think the key is to manage that pressure and to manage your headspace. People think when you're an athlete, you really want to train every day. Guys who don't. It's like you going to the gym.
Mental wellness is obviously quite important for the team, and it's easy to say manage it, but how do we manage it? And I think that's where Profmed helps with the wellness campaign that they now roll out as an additional benefit that doesn't cost anything. 10 years ago I was running with you on Saturdays for fun. Then you go on, you break world records, you go to Rio, you go to Tokyo, you bring back medals.
The Profmed path to Paris is me going from injury and rehabilitation to competing at the Paris Paralympics.
One lap to go, let's geek.
I'm Luzon Kutsia. I'm a T11 athlete and I compete in the marathon and the 1500 meters. This is the path to Paris with Profmed. And this is basically just our journey and our path to hopefully bringing back South Africa some medals at the Paralympic Games in 2024. To follow my path to Paris, stay tuned to the Profmed social media channels for more information.
So there'll be continued debate about the National Health Insurance Plan, which is about to be signed in by the President. From our perspective, I just want to assure everybody that we're prepared for the National Health Insurance policy to be signed, but we will oppose the implementation. The implementation part is tied up in many parts of, do we have money to actually finance this plan? And when you hear the Finance Minister only allocating a very small portion towards the NHI plan, you'll realize that implementation is still decades off. But what we need to have is people assured, specifically the doctors and specialists who are looking at global opportunities. We need them to remain and be part of the future. Don't be threatened by NHI. The medical schemes have got together and we will confront the NHI in a constitutional court because there are lots of unconstitutional parts to the NHI law.
Good morning, Sanibonani, Molweni, and a very warm welcome to the Profmed 2025 Benefits Update. My name is Samke Mhlongo, and I have the absolute pleasure of hosting this year's showcase. Some of you may recognize my face or the sound of my voice from the Savvy with Samke series, where I've had the chance to interview some incredible people from different walks of life on how they have managed to navigate their way through their financial and physical well-being in some very savvy ways. But today we are shifting gears a little bit because we are looking at not only what Profmed has in store over the next year, but also what Profmed has managed to achieve over the year that has gone by. Welcome to all 1,000 brokers joining us online via YouTube and more than 200 of you joining us right here in studio. Thank you very much, and we hope you are just as excited for what we have in store as we are. As you know, this event is more than just about giving you an update. It's a celebration of all the amazing strides that Profmed has made in the past year, and also giving you some updates that will help you be able to better navigate the challenges that your members are facing in terms of their medical aid, and help you to actually showcase how Profmed is better for them. Profmed is deeply committed to empowering South Africans with high-quality medical aid and knowledge that helps them to secure both their financial and physical well-being futures. At the heart of today's event, though, is this idea that we need to return to value, that we are here to reaffirm our commitment to providing exceptional medical care and support, focusing on quality medical aid and not just gimmicks. Profmed prides itself on being a reputable and reliable partner in healthcare, fostering trust through transparency and clear, dependable coverage. So let's dive right in. We are going to start off by inviting all of you of our online participants to please pose your questions and your comments in the comment box. And of course, to those of you joining us in studio, to look out for the Q&A segments where you'll be able to pose questions to our presenters. But let's kick things off on a high note as we look at who has made Broker of the Year. And for that, I'd like to introduce Ruth Ace, who is the Intermediary Relationship Manager, to tell us who has made the cut.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. For those online who don't yet know me, my name is Ruth Ace, and I'm proudly Profmed's Intermediary Relationship Manager. So if this is the first time I'm introducing myself to you, please let's connect after this on any questions you have or support I can give. Before I jump into two announcements, I wanted to bring your attention to the fact that within the Profmed context, we now have over 100 people living over 100 years old. That's an amazing outcome. And part of that is better nutrition, but certainly better healthcare for everybody. It's also why we are so focused on longevity, the longevity of our members and our partnerships with both our intermediaries and the long-term relationships we build and nurture with our members. So from all of us at Profmed team, thank you for walking this journey with us. We recognize how much you do for Profmed. First up, it is my great honor to publicly recognize and congratulate our 2023 top intermediaries. A big thank you to every intermediary who continues to support Profmed. Our promise to our members, existing and future, has never changed, and our intermediaries continue to help us build trust, shared value, and a brighter future with South Africa's professionals. Our top broker for 2023 is in first place, Ruan Nel from the Free State. In second place, we have Aaron Perelman from Gauteng South. And in third place, Stefan Botma, also from Gauteng South. Well done, you guys. We're so proud of you. Secondly, I wanted to bring your attention to our newly launched intermediary incubation program. Every new intermediary who has signed a Profmed contract from the 1st of January 2024 onwards qualifies for this program. All you need to do is to meet our new business targets over the next 14 months, and you will earn a Take-A-Lot voucher with 20,000 Rand. For more information on the 4 tiers or the program in general, please email me on ruthyu@profmed.co.za. In closing, I would like to reiterate our gratitude for the support you provide to our members, our growth through comprehensive benefit offerings, and your superior service to the South African professional.
Next up, we have someone who embodies the spirit of community health and empowerment. Dr. Moratwe is not only a dedicated Johannesburg-based doctor, but also the founder of Your Health, Your Dignity, an NGO that educates underprivileged youth on sexual and reproductive health. She's a powerful voice for social change and an advocate for youth health. Today, we're excited to welcome the ever so gorgeous Dr. Moratwe as Profmed's newest brand ambassador and influencer. She'll also be sharing some exciting updates about the newly enhanced Tums to Tots program, which I'm sure will be music to the ears of our members with young families and those planning on growing their brood. Dr. M, welcome and hello, gorgeous.
Thank you so much, Samke. I'm really excited for today and thank you for inviting me.
Absolute pleasure to have you and congratulations on everything you've managed to achieve so far.
Thank you so much.
I'd like us to talk a little bit today about Profmed's Tums to Tots program, and I want us to talk especially about how it benefits young parents with babies and toddlers and on their journey of actually being new parents.
Definitely. Thank you so much for the question, Samke. Tums to Tots is a comprehensive program that is going to really support parents from the point of pregnancy all the way up to toddlerhood. What's amazing about it is that it's not just any maternity program, but it's integrated, data-driven, as well as personalized to really support parents through this important part of their lives.
That sounds absolutely incredible. And we know that Profmed is all about partnering with its members on their journey, whether it is to financial well-being or physical well-being, and now their parental well-being. And I'd like to talk a little bit about how it is different to the 2020 iteration of the Tums to Tots program. What's the change? What's the update?
Great question, Samke. The update is that it is completely data-driven and personalized. What's amazing about it is that it's going to take patients' medical history, health risks, as well as looking at the stage of pregnancy that the mom is in to come up with the personalized data-driven information for the mom. What's amazing as well is that it's all on one app. It's web-based and everything that you need is on the app.
Okay, so I am someone that is fairly familiar with technology, but I'm thinking to myself, pregnant, going through the mood swings, like am I inputting information? Am I pressing my fingerprint onto my device and you guys are recording everything going on? What does this mean? How does it work?
There are so many helpful tools on the app. One of the most important can be a mom being able to track the weight gain, fetal movements, as well as baby feeding patterns.
I know when I was pregnant, I had preggy brain. I could not remember a thing. So how are you looking after me and making sure that I'm doing everything I'm supposed to for baby?
So, what's absolutely amazing is that there's a maternity calendar, which will really keep you up to date to all the antenatal visits you need, as well as baby vaccinations.
I love that it covers both antenatal and postnatal visits. But what's in it for the dads? Because, I know us modern moms, we're not trying to do everything by ourselves.
Definitely. So we definitely haven't forgotten about the dads. The dads can get their own unique login details and get access to different topics for them. And it really makes it a more inclusive experience for both mom and dad.
I love the fact that this program covers both antenatal and postnatal visits. But what about benefits for the dads? Because, the dads are very hands-on these days.
Yes, we definitely have not forgotten about the dads. The dads can get their own unique login details that gives them access to certain topics that they can learn about. And it makes it a more inclusive experience for both mom and dad.
That is so important. And I'm glad that we are taking into account the support that moms need on this journey. Let's talk a little bit about mental health, especially postpartum mental health. I believe the program has something to offer for that.
So Profmed really does take mental health seriously, and in the program, there's going to be a part where we do ongoing assessments as well as risk predictions to just be proactive about mental health, because moms really can go through a lot during this period.
Oh, yes, we do. It sounds amazing. It sounds like Profmed, as always, is ahead of the curve in thinking and considering what it is that its members do need from them. And I am very excited for this program. But I believe there's one more little secret you are hiding up your sleeve with regards to the program. There's a special gift.
Yes. So moms can actually get a curated baby bag that's going to have goodies for both mom and baby, or they can choose from a flexible voucher that just gives them more access to different baby goods.
Now, I'm done having babies, but I know there are some friends of mine that are on that journey, and maybe they want to sign up. Maybe I want to share with people how they can sign up. So what are the details? How do we go about doing that?
It's actually very simple. All you need to do is download the Profmed app as well as sign in on the link provided. You can either get it on Apple as well as Android, and from then on you have access to everything.
Dr. M, I'm definitely sold, and I'm sure that many of my friends that I tell about this will be sold too. So I would encourage you to sign in to the app and explore the benefits that the Tums to Tots program has to offer for both mom, dad, and especially for baby. Thank you, Dr. M, once again for talking us through these amazing benefits that it seems Profmed really has gone to great lengths to ensuring that we have what we need as young parents.
My pleasure, Samke. I really am excited for all the parents to experience this, because I think it's going to really help them on their journey. It's comprehensive and it really takes care of the family.
From Tums to Tots, let's turn our attention to something we're particularly excited about for 2025, our brand new benefit offering, Amplify. Amplify reaffirms Profmed's focus on trust and transparency, ensuring you receive the care you deserve without any surprises. At Profmed, we love rewarding you for taking care of yourself. By staying on top of your preventative healthcare screenings, you're not just protecting your future, you're also unlocking extra benefits. That's right, we're boosting your out-of-hospital care with up to 2,500 rands in added value just for being vigilant. Now let me introduce you to Amplify, a benefit designed to give you that little extra boost when your day-to-day medical cover runs out. Once you've used up your overall day-to-day benefits, Amplify steps in with an additional 2,500 rand to cover out-of-hospital consultations. And it's not just for you, it's also for your dependents who pay adult contributions. All you have to do is follow the steps in the brochure to unlock your benefits. More support when it really matters. So what can you use Amplify for? Let's break it down. your GP and specialist consultations, your dental appointments, supplementary services such as your visits for physio, occupational therapists, dietitian consultations, and so much more. Amplify gives you access to the extra support you need to stay strong and well. At Profmed, we want to walk with you on your wellness journey. And with Amplify, we've got your back, so you can keep amplifying your health worry-free. So, are you ready to amplify your life with us? Now, to give us a broader perspective on the current healthcare landscape and where Profmed fits in, I'd like to welcome our Principal Officer, Craig Comrie. Craig will speak to us about key macro trends in South Africa, including the National Health Insurance, or NHI, the impact of the recent elections, and the overall state of our nation.
Amazing. Thank you, Samke. For those of you that haven't met Samke before, please refer to our YouTube episodes on Savvy with Samke. It's been a discussion about what people do and don't know about medical schemes, but also the situations they find themselves in, and specifically the hard times that I guess we've all had to endure the last few years. And so it's some of those challenges that we know really mold South Africans. As South Africans, we know we can overcome anything. We've lived with all these things for such a long time. We know that we are resilient and we can stand up for everything. So one of the things that we know people have been struggling with is generally the cost of living. So how do we take our small budgets and certainly our salaries or even our incomes that have trailed things like CPI, things like electricity increases? How do we take these small budgets and actually make ends meet? So we know it's a real stretch for every family or individual in terms of trying to afford life. And so with this, we look at the environment that we're in and we note a few things. So this graph is a basic indication of the cost of living over time. And so when you look at it, you can see based on 2010, where the different countries feature and how their cost of living has in fact grown. South Africa is the one in green, obviously. But what I've done is I've just compared us to some of the other African countries, some of the big African countries as well. So Egypt, Zambia, and then the BRICS nations. So you'll see India, Brazil, and China in the blue. One thing that we learn from the graph is that everybody has been affected by this cost of living crisis. It's not just South Africa. So here's another indicator. It's the gross domestic product. And so it gives you an idea from 1960 all the way to 2020 and a little bit further into a view of where we as South Africa are producing the goods. How are we performing in terms of bringing income into South Africa? And so we very quickly see that there's a general downward trend. In fact, the economists have noted the last 10 years we have grown at 1.1% average. Now, unless we grow at 2%, we don't add to our job market because we have a growing population, whether it be other immigrants coming into South Africa or just normal birth rates within South Africa. We have a growing population that needs employment, and that's very much the next graph that we see. So you'll see again all the way up until 2023, even into 2024, we know that rate has been higher than anything we've experienced before. So if you think the cost of living doesn't make a difference, then this is the indicator. How is it that if you're unemployed, how do you survive? And so we have this concept of Ubuntu in South Africa. I am because we are. There's no doubt that communities are taking care of a very large group of unemployed individuals if it's not the burden that the state has to carry. So if you aren't earning lots of income and you're trying to afford things, you typically go into debt. And so this is a graph that shows, firstly in the green, it shows the household debt, the proportion of household debt to income. And so you'll see from years ago, probably when I bought my home in 2007, household debt was exceptionally high, almost 80% of income. What's quite nice to see is then the decline in the amount of debt that there is. Now, I think what it hides is the fact that we had the implementation of the Credit Act in the process, and so not many people were actually getting additional credit or going into debt, if you'd like to view it in that way. And so we see now in 2023, 22 and 23, so a little bit of the recovery from COVID, that people are paying just between 8 and 10% of what they earn, they're paying to finance their debt obligations. It's a very high amount, and it's something that we have to be careful of, because the more you're spending on financing debt, the less you have an opportunity to then use your disposable income on other things and other very important things. So what we have seen is over the last few months, and maybe even since the beginning of the year, we've seen some of these real green shoots come through. So whether it is political intent of the GNU or how overseas and foreign markets have viewed us, there's no doubt there's been a real change in the way South Africa works. There's more consultations, more engagements on trying to get South Africa right. So we must be positive and contribute in a very real way to making sure growth happens. Whether it is in your community, certainly within the country, we need to use that innovative go-to attitude and make sure that we can position South Africa in the macro environment to improve our GDP, to improve the lives of all our South African citizens so that they can get employment, so that they can also experience the longevity of a good life. And so we know, and I guess people sometimes forget, that load shedding was with us for a long time. In fact, I've got 3 daughters. The one daughter is almost 17, turned 17 soon, and she has grown up in the load shedding era. We know load shedding started March 2007. So imagine actually living your whole life in a place where you expect inconsistent electricity. Now, we've seen that over the past 197 days, we haven't had any load shedding. And I'm not talking about whether there has been trips and other problems with the distribution of Eskom, but it is a testimony to what government and business can do together. And we're looking forward to all the other initiatives that lay the foundation for growth going forward. We've also learned through the process, through all these years, that South Africans tend to know how to do it for themselves. And so the advent of solar at home, solar panels, if you are able to afford solar electricity, then this has helped even remove the pressure off the existing grid. And so that's how we do it. We find a way to solve some of the biggest challenges that have faced our country. We do that together. And so some of the positive things that come through in terms of the indicators. One of the real indicators that we've seen is the downward trend of the interest rate. And so here we have from 1987 all the way down to some projections provided by the Reserve Bank indicating that interest rates going forward from 2025 should start averaging around the 4% mark. Now, the reason that's so important is the fact that if you are indebted to the extent that I showed you we are, it means that every interest rate cut, and if we're in the interest rate cut cycle, means it adds money to your pocket. It adds disposable income. And it's with that disposable income that we can start making a very real difference in terms of the things that we use, the things that we buy, and we can actually see how we together can grow the economy. In fact, this is the JSE, the run on the JSE since November last year, hitting record highs in 2024. So if you're getting stuck into the view that we should only have a pessimistic view about South Africa, that's the wrong place to be. Here we are with things starting to perform. You can see those green shoots heading in the right direction. Petrol price. In fact, the petrol price has come down the last few years. So we're back to where the petrol price was in 2022. So isn't that's a good trend, because it'll change inflation rates, it'll change, hopefully have an effect on interest rates. But for every litre, if we pay less, again, we add into the amount of disposable income we have. And so I thought this graph really shows an interesting space. So despite a reasonably high escalation in the cost of living, this is the world map in terms of the cost of living. So if you note it as green on the map, the cost of living is very low. So South America, much of Asia, certainly South Africa in the green space. So South Africa's index is sitting at 34.53 out of an index that ends with 86. So if you're in Norway, Iceland, much of the US and Switzerland, you're actually paying more than double for things that you can get here in South Africa. Isn't it a wonderful indication of how good we are faring on the world stage? So a lot of people don't like the other slide, and so I'm going to refer to this one because people understand it in a different way. So very much the same. It's called the McDonald's Big Mac Index, and I'm not sponsored by McDonald's at all. It's a matter of comparing the price of a Big Mac across the world. So what would you pay in the US? Well, in the US, it's very close to, in the blue, it's close to $7 for a Big Mac at the moment. And so similar, a little bit cheaper in Australia, but South Africa, we're paying $2.71. So if you want just a strange way of measuring cost of living worldwide, this will give you a good indication if the last slide didn't give you that. So as you can pick up, I am an absolute South African fan. I'm mad about the country, and I don't think that's going to change very quickly. So one of the things I learned in my family is during load shedding, there was one thing people always wanted in my home, and that was some extra batteries. They knew Dad had the torch. He's also got the batteries because I control the remotes. So I have a thing about batteries. So if you want a battery in my home, everybody comes to me. I probably have a few hundred batteries in the drawer stashed away. But I thought looking at the cost of living as pertaining to a set of Duracell batteries. And so you'll see South Africa, compared to the rest of the world, including India, actually sells a pack of Duracell batteries for 117 Rand. That's almost 30% cheaper than anywhere else in the world. So if you want batteries, live in South Africa, it's easier to live. But maybe you have electricity, then you don't need as many. So we know that when it comes to the Duracell story, it's a very interesting story because I guess we grew up with the pink bunny or the drummer that used to run around our screens advertising Duracell because it lasted longer. And so one of the things when you do the research is, in fact, the pink bunny is part of the brand of Energizer and not Duracell. That's in the UK, in the US, and Europe. Everywhere else, the pink bunny brand is owned by Duracell. So I thought, just as a matter of interest, when you look at Energizer, and the researchers indicate that the Energizer battery was made more powerfully. It actually has 2,200 mega amperes per hour that it actually contains, while the Duracell battery has less. The question would be, well, which battery are you buying? Well, maybe you're still making the choice based on price, but you can see the prices are very similar. The researchers say that the Duracell battery still outlasts the Energizer battery. And so this whole debate about which battery is better is maybe sometimes in the eye of the beholder, but if you want something to last longer, you'd buy the Duracell battery. So looking at the alternative battery, another battery that's also in the market, if you only want to buy in price, you can spend just on 52 Rand and get batteries that look similar. They actually have some sort of guarantee attached, and if you want, it has a torch included, but those batteries do not last. And so we're looking very carefully that as we return to value, people's buying behaviors start to change as they educate themselves, they do their research. What you buy is the more valuable product, the more enduring product. And that's a really important lesson. Now, the Duracell battery story doesn't extend everywhere. So it's different when you're buying for yourself, maybe for a family member's life. You're not going to use a Duracell battery to power, in this case, a pacemaker. So the batteries here cost about $5,000. So what you're doing, as soon as it comes to personal health that drives even an improved life element to it, your decision changes. Values become different, not just connected to price, but your value becomes very different. And so think of the example, not a Duracell battery for your pacemaker. You need a really fancy battery that you don't have to replace too often, so that you can get pacemakers that you have to replace every 5 years, but there are others that replace every 15 years. Which one would you actually purchase? Probably, when it comes to the price, if you can afford it, if you have a good medical scheme, you would prefer the best quality product that is relevant to a pacemaker. And so we start to realize that a return to value means that there's a trust element involved. Maybe a different example that I enjoy is, if you are going to buy biltong or boerewors, where are you going to buy it from? In this case, it's quite easy. You'll definitely buy it from South Africa. I've tasted some of the stuff overseas. It's not the same. It's not the same quality. South Africa is where you buy that. If I had to change the question and ask you, what about a pacemaker? What about a prosthetic limb? What about other appliances, hearing aids and so forth? Where would you buy that? Well, if you do your research, you will find the best place to buy it, because you may trust the German-made one or the American-made one. You will find the right place to actually purchase the quality product that you trust. So where you buy from is the behavior that drives a return to value. Sometimes, again, it's not just about price, it's about who do you trust that makes the biggest difference. And so in this return to value conversation, there are 5 key things in terms of your buying behavior that makes all the difference when choosing Profmed. And so we revert to these, the first one being, you trust somebody who walks the journey with you and provides you with the right level of service to help you navigate any healthcare concern that you have. You trust somebody that's always made sure that they're close to the innovations that come through and are giving you the best possible care with the right level of technology. You can never discount price. Price is a determinating factor when we look at what people can afford, but altogether provides an opportunity for you to buy the right product, the right healthcare and medical scheme, and we believe that to be Profmed. So the bigger NHI environment has become a hot topic, and so perhaps it's the topic that drives risk into the government of national unity. But there is something that we want to assure all our members, is that the NHI will be carefully managed, whether it be the court challenges that we've prepared, or whether it be the engagements and proposals that the President has now invited. We'll be engaging to change the NHI Act to make sure that people have the right level of choice, protecting their constitutional rights in terms of where they obtain healthcare and what healthcare they want from who. And so that will be the crux of the constitutional challenge that we'll put in. There are some ancillary things which talk about, can the government afford it? Is it very practical? How do we preserve the role of the healthcare provider in the space? How do we retain the specialists, doctors, and highly skilled nurses in the country? Those things all have to be carefully unpacked. And so we're working alongside the Health Funders Association to engage the different voices that are in NHI. So here you'll see the Minister of Health speaking and talking about how failures in the public sector are not necessarily failures for NHI. We welcome the fact that the President has invited business again to come together and provide alternative proposals on how we can improve the healthcare system. It really is an important conversation, and we are prepared and have proposals ready to go and share with the government in terms of how do we improve health in the country. One thing we realise at Profmed is the fact that healthcare has to be transformed. It has to change. We have to do better with the resources that we have. There is a level of inequality that is not tolerable for us in healthcare. We actually have to look after each person who needs quality healthcare at the right time and when they need it the most. So the NHI debate will continue for years and maybe even decades. In the meantime, we assure every member that you'll be fine. You'll be fine, you'll receive exactly the benefits that we are promising today, and we'll take care of you. If you want to keep close to the NHI debate, as Profmed, we are hosting monthly seminars as things actually transpire. And so please keep close to those monthly webinars. Whether you're a broker or a member or a provider, you're welcome to attend.
Thank you very much, Craig, for those insights. From a macro view, we now go into the exciting world of digital health innovation. I'm thrilled to introduce Dr. Ganesh, Chief Medical Officer at PPSHA. With over 25 years of experience in health insurance solutions, Dr. Ganesh is a recognized thought leader in wellness innovation. She's here to talk about our new digital health assessment tool, including the facial recognition features on our app that are set to make your healthcare experience even smoother and more personalized.
Thanks, Samke, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Profmed Showcase Design 2025. Today, we're going to talk about a very new addition to the benefits for 2025, and that is the digital health assessment. As you know, at Profmed, we're heavily invested in primary healthcare, and we've been driving preventative health screenings in the form of physical health assessments for the last 5 years or so. Now we've decided to add a digital health assessment to the new design for 2025. So what exactly is the digital health assessment all about? This is really a novel new way to test more people. It's a mass digital screening tool. It's an AI-based new technology, and of course, from a regulatory standpoint, it is of course FDA approved and CE marked and ISO accredited. What is the technology based on? So our digital health assessment is actually based on RPPG technology, and this really is remote plethysmography. And it's really about how the light rays affect the red blood cells on your skin. So this technology has been around for at least the last 7 years or so, and with this novel AI-based technology, we're able to get some good clinical biomarkers about your health. This really includes your respiratory rate, your heart rate variability, your BMI, and a little about your SpO2. So how exactly does this work? So we've been able to process this technology through the use of your smart cell phone. All you got to do is to allow access to your camera and wait for about 45 seconds or so for the technology to be processed, and it gives you an instant report. For the digital health assessment for 2025, the benefit will go as follows. You will be given a unique link that will attach you to the Profmed Wellbeing app. You'll click the link, you'll answer a couple of questions, and then be proceeded onto the digital facial scan. After 45 seconds or so, your clinical biomarkers will show up and an instant report will follow. On the report, we'll be able to tell you whether you've been marked as a red client, an amber client, or a green client. So green is great, which means that all of your clinical biomarkers are within the normal parameters. Amber tells us that you're a little bit out of kilter and need to see your physician. Red tells us that things are not exactly where it should be, and you definitely should seek the support of your physician. Our Profmed disease risk management team will also be in contact to try and get you equipped to necessary care. At the end of this presentation, a QR code will be made available for you to test out our brand new digital health assessment. Thank you.
Next, let's talk about the exciting new benefits Profmed has planned for 2025. To walk us through these, we have our General Sales Manager, Hendrik. He'll outline how these benefits are designed to align with our continued theme of return to value, ensuring members receive the best possible care while we remain adaptable to the changing healthcare landscape. Hendrik, over to you.
Hello everybody, thanks for joining us. Aren't you happy you woke up this morning? I mean that too, but in Africa. Just seems to me as though the world is in disarray. There's just so much conflict, right? I mean, we do have our challenges, but at the least nobody is attempting to invade us. Not that we know of anyway. No one's firing missiles at us. No, I think suffice it to say that Africa is absolutely the best place to be. Now, those of you who may have been fortunate enough to witness sunrises in different parts of the world, I'm sure you'll agree with me that there is absolutely nothing as stunning and as beautiful as an African sunrise. It just heralds so much promise, so much potential, so much value to be had. And brings me to an interesting point is each and every single one of us have this interesting relationship with value and quality and value. So I'd like to share a little story with you. So my family, we were impecunious. Even though we didn't have it broad, we had a lot of good times. And many of those good times, memories, were forged around meals, meal times, but also preparation of meals. And we used to use these guys, right? And I mean, I just thought that's what everybody else used. They did the trick, right? Until I started visiting with some of my friends. One friend in particular, his mom had a completely different set. My goodness, those guys were shiny. I mean, you could spot the craftsmanship from a mile away. And each pot had its own lid, right? In our set, only the biggest pot had a lid. And you had to kind of just MacGyver it around if you wanted to use that lid. And also, if you touched that lid, our set, without some form of protection, you were doing the rain dance. Not so with this friend of mine's mom's set. In fact, each lid had this beautiful little round knob, and you could touch the knob, didn't get hot. And inside this knob, it had like a green circle, right? And it told you stuffs. You didn't actually have to open the pot to check what was inside, because that's... So there, my relationship with value and quality started. I mean, what we were using did the job, absolutely, no problem, right? But you could very clearly see that this was just in a completely different league. And I learned one very important thing a couple of years later, is that these guys came with a lifetime guarantee, right? It's like a Rolls Royce. You buy a Rolls Royce new, something happens to it, you just take it back. They fix it, guys. Profmed is that. We are the premium healthcare funding brand for the professional in South Africa, and we are interested in a lifelong journey. So not only am I happy to have woken up in Africa this morning, I'm very happy to be able to share our benefit enhancements for 2025 with all of you. Things that we are very, very excited about. So we've done much work in enhancing our preventative care benefit space. And this aligns with all the wonderful technology that you guys have been hearing about all morning. So the annual mammogram benefit has been revised from 1 mammogram every 2 years for females aged 40 and older, to annual mammograms starting at age 40 and biennial mammograms from the age of 56. Another area that we've worked at and brought enhanced benefits is malaria prophylaxis medication, which is limited to 460 Rand per beneficiary per annum, beneficiaries of all ages, and this includes over-the-counter and prescribed medication as well. Guys, this is quite an important one for us. We've learned through COVID about the strain of mental health, and so we have added this, a tobacco and alcohol dependency counseling program, tobacco and alcohol counseling, screening, and a brief intervention for males and females 18 years and older, which does include telephonic and or face-to-face consultations. We have enhanced our oncology benefit. Oncology benefits for ProSelect and Proactive Plus options have been increased from just under 240,000 Rand per annum to 400,000 Rand per beneficiary per annum. As you would have heard Samke talk about our Amplify program, something that we are extremely proud of and very excited to share with you, where our Profmed members can unlock enhanced health benefits through the Amplify. So how do you do that? Simple. You follow a few simple steps to unlock the benefits. You download the Profmed app, conduct a digital health assessment via Profmed Wellbeing. If required, complete a physical health assessment, and this can be done at your local pharmacy. Complete all individual relevant preventative care benefit screenings, and where a beneficiary is registered on a chronic treatment care plan, they are required to fully comply with that plan to unlock the benefits. You can get all the information about Amplifier by scanning this QR code. And then just lastly, we are extremely positive about 2025. You heard Craig talk about green shoots. We have spent many, many hours making sure that we are that premium product, that little lid with a little round knoppy that does what it's supposed to do, that supports us in our quest for the best value, for the best quality. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Hendrik. I'm sure the benefit enhancements you have just mentioned will make a big difference to Profmed members. I think everyone's about ready to hear where Profmed is positioned for 2025. And of course, that inevitable question of contribution increases. I'm sure you're wondering why they are happening and how we as Profmed are ensuring we remain competitive and supportive of our members' needs. Trust and transparency are the cornerstones of Profmed's approach. So let's hear from Craig about how we're delivering on those promises. Back to you, Craig.
So this year has been about the benefits that we're actually sharing with all our members. So we wanted to give you a view of where Profmed sits in terms of its own competitiveness. And it starts off with a view of the current financial position. So here we show you the budget that we projected for 2024, plus where our actuaries are estimating we land. And you'll see some very big variances in terms of the numbers. So firstly, you'll see the difference in terms of net operating result, which means that we've actually had fewer claims than we expected. And so the 25.7 million deficit is projected to really be break even, which is really a good result for Profmed. Further on, you'll see with the JSE running as far as it has, our investments have picked up significantly. So if it holds from now until year end, you'll see quite a large surplus or investment returns coming through into the numbers. And you'll see the difference from the budgeted amount of 40 million, and here we're almost talking about 138 million Rand and investment returns. Profmed has just over 1.2 billion rands worth of reserves, and so we invest those reserves, and here are the returns that enter into the bottom line of Profmed. And so it helps to bring down some of the increases, the premium increases that we are speaking of, and certainly puts us in a very sure and strong footing for any future in this very volatile healthcare market. Here's another picture that you should find really interesting. So this is the actual Profmed reserves over time. And so it starts off back in 2017, you'll see that the reserves was well above 50%, all the way down, and there is a downward trend until around 2021. And then what we see is a flat trend. Now, the flat trend is a very positive trend because it means that we aren't losing reserves. We actually have the ability, even now at the end of 2024, to increase the amount of reserves that stand surety for members. We don't have shareholders in medical schemes. Members own the medical schemes. And so we effectively have leveled out on just over R1 billion worth of reserves. And as we look forward, you'll see that that's the space we want to be. We want to be in this 40% range of reserves, while we can still cushion the effect of these contribution increases. We could do it over a longer period of time. And that's how we design things. We look at the long-term sustainability of the scheme. So it's the slant of the arrow that tells you the strength or the financial strength of the medical scheme. And so as we talk competitiveness, we look at our main competitors and we look at what's happening. And perhaps this gives you a clue on why the industry itself has seen such high increases proposed for 2025. So from BestMed on the one side, and then all the way to the very similar graph which I showed you of Profmed, is a leveling reserve ratio, while the others have to play a little bit of catch-up. So when you see double-digit increases on some of the other schemes, you'll realize that what they're doing is they're trying to prop up their reserves. And so at a board of trustee level, Profmed has actually anticipated this many years ago, and so we've budgeted accordingly and managed the scheme accordingly to level the reserves and hopefully in the next year actually improve reserves. So here we have an interesting lens. So I call it the integrity lens because our actuaries have plotted out very carefully each option of our competing schemes, including the Profmed options, against these two axes. You'll see the first axis is how expensive your premium contribution is, or your average family contribution, so it's 2 adults and a child. On the bottom axis, you'll see benefit richness. And so as you move up, obviously you get more comprehensive benefits in terms of what you're buying. And naturally, you can see the trend of experience heading up. So as you get more benefits, naturally you're going to pay more premiums or contributions. So this specific plan here is our Pro Select. It's the Profmed Pro Select plan in black. Proactive Plus, Pro Secure and Pro Secure Plus, and Pro Pinnacle. And the key to this is to show you how competitive Profmed remains. We're actually cheaper than many of the plans that in fact cost a lot more for similar benefits. So that's how you can work it all the way through to the top. I realize that there are 1 or 2 plans in the marketplace that now cost more than 15,000 Rand a month for an individual. So usually those cover biologics and some very expensive technology that's coming through in terms of the industry. But the reason we call this the integrity slide, it's not based on what is proposed in the benefit structure or in the benefit map that you'll see from brokers. So this is actually based on each of the schemes, including Profmed's, claims performance, what we actually pay. And so for us, it is all about integrity, that we pay for what we have in our benefit structure. And so you can rely more on Profmed about what we say and what we are going to do. So let's look at the slide and the information that you've all been waiting for, and that is about the 2025 increases at Profmed. So here it is. So we have on the left-hand side, Pro Select, the Pro Select option. all the way through to the top option. So our increases range from 6.9 all the way to 14%. I might just admit that most of our memberships sit in the Pro Select and Pro Active Plus plans. So that's probably 50% of the scheme that sit on those plans, along with those Savvy plans where you choose Savvy so that you land up in a hospital network and pay about 10% less than the premium plans. So overall, how the market looks at it, the weighted average member increase is in fact 8.42%. And so it is a conservative and well-planned and thought-out increase that we believe will keep the scheme sustainable, while we can finance almost 25 million rands worth of benefits, new benefits, like the Amplify model. We've brought down some of the contribution rates on the first dependence on some of the schemes or some of the plans. And so we believe this is a good space for us to be in terms of our own competitiveness, and certainly amongst the lowest in the market. So these are our contribution tables for 2025. So you can see the rand values involved in all the different plans, including the Savvy plans. What is really interesting about our Pro Select and Pro Select Savvy plan is the fact that none of the increases are above 150 rand. That's for either an adult or dependent or child. So a real value-based option to get comprehensive hospital cover on. So please look carefully at that and look at the income ranges that are applicable in that plan. We have looked at the market, so we keep track of the market, and as we've discussed earlier, value is not just price, but this is some of the information that we've gleaned from the market. So you can see from the major competitors that have launched and have published their increases for next year, ours is by far the smallest increase for next year. And so we believe we're providing better value, increased benefits at certainly very low contribution increases for 2025. Thank you for being with us today, and we thank our big team that has worked tirelessly behind the scenes to put this together. But we hope you actually enjoy what's coming in 2025. We're really looking forward to it. We're now going to hand the time back to Samke and have a few Q&As. And if you don't get your Q&A answered here, please put it into the chat function and we'll make sure we get to all of them.
And now it's time for the segment I am sure you have all been waiting for, which is when we hand the microphone over to you and hear your questions and comments for our speakers and with regards to what we discussed here today. And in conversation with me, I have Craig once again and Hendrik, who will be answering the questions that you have posed to us. Gentlemen, welcome to the Q&A segment.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
We're ready.
Are you going to be honest, transparent, and all the other values that Profmed espouses?
Always.
Yeah.
Well, I will start with a question that has come through from Margaret out in Benoni. She has asked, is the digital health assessment free of charge for all Profmed members? And how often can one use it per year?
So the benefit for the digital health assessment is every year, so once a year is the preferable way to go, because it gives us an indication of where your risk lies, and then it initiates this process where we can help you manage that risk that we find. So it really is an empowering space that actually gives every member an opportunity to know your health as a screening, just to know your health,
right,
and then to call on any other support that you might need from Profmed.
And I think more than anything, it is quite important for us to destigmatize actually knowing where you stand when it comes to your health, because I know some of those annual checkups one has to do can leave one feeling very nervous. Hendrik, are you up to date with your annual checkups?
Samke, I'm married and I am a Profmed member. So I have a double whammy on that front. I am covered.
We love wives and family members that ensure we are proactive about taking care of ourselves and knowing our health status. Right, the difficult question coming through from Mpo out in Soweto. We see annually the contributions increase across the board of all medical schemes. Can you talk to us about getting the percentage increase right and how this affects the sustainability of the fund?
Good question. I think it's a lot of work that sits behind and answers that question. A lot of the meetings that we have with trustees and with representatives of brokers, listening to the members in the call centre and all the engagements with us, we listen carefully to know what their needs are. Right. And so we change our benefit structures to actually support those needs. A thing like Amplify has come through as a specific benefit that members have needed. We need to incentivize preventative health checks. And so Amplify allows us to do that. But getting to the contribution increases is a dynamic process. We consider the demographic of our scheme, how old they are, what claims are they submitting?
Right.
And our plan is always a long-term plan. So the fact that we've got below industry average increases for next year is a huge positive, but it's a testament of the work that's been done over the last 4 to 5 years since COVID and running into the future. So we plan for these 5 or 10 years in advance.
Thank you very much for that answer, Craig, and really highlighting for us the importance of remembering that the percentage increases of our contributions aren't merely based on the inflationary outlook over the next 6 to 12 months, but rather the sustainability of the fund and also an outlook that goes over 5 to 10 years with regards to claims and benefits. Right, Hendrik, a question for you coming from one of our in-studio guests. The question is the intermediary incubation program continuing into 2025, and who is this specifically for?
Great question, thank you. Yeah, membership growth is obviously very, very important to every fund out there, and our intermediaries are more than just our partners. So our intermediary incubation program has been well received and has yielded some very, very good results. The program is designed to usher, if you will, young professional financial advisors into the healthcare funding space, which is not always easy to enter. So the program is designed with that in mind. We support our young intermediaries by way of whether it be a little bit of a marketing budget or whether they need advice regarding FICE compliance or legal advice, whatever it is that they need, that is what the intermediary incubation program is designed to do. And yes, it will most certainly continue into 2025. This year was the first year that we ran it, so we are learning, and we will certainly use all of those learnings to enhance the program moving forward.
So basically, don't take financial or medical aid advice from TikTok specialists. Rather, make sure that if you are as excited as the TikTok enthusiasts to become a provider of that advice, you look at, first of all, getting the relevant qualification and joining the intermediary incubation program. A follow-on question for you, Craig, regarding Amplify. This question asks, when does Amplify actually kick off? And can you explain a little bit more about the 2,500 Rand benefits?
Yeah, so Amplify kicks off 1 Jan 2025.
Okay.
And so from the 1st of Jan, you can start doing your digital assessments and getting your report of what your risk is showing up as. And so the whole idea about the 2,500 Rand is that we incentivize you to look after yourself.
Right.
We're asking you to go and do all those preventative checks that often many of us don't like doing. And so we're giving you a little bit of a carrot to effectively save your life or extend your life or to live longer and happier. And so that's where the money comes from. The 2,500 Rand is renewed every second year. So it's not a once in a lifetime 2,500 Rand. Every second year you can earn 2,500 Rand by doing the right things for yourself.
Well, keep those questions coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Hendrik, Craig, before we close off this Q&A segment, in case we don't get any more questions, any parting shots, parting words, or if people remember nothing else from today, what should they take away?
How we are so looking forward to 2025.
Absolutely. Sounds like Profmed has definitely got their story together in anticipation of the year ahead. Hendrik, what are you looking forward to?
I'm very excited about this, the digital health assessment that we've been talking about. It is FDA approved, and it's very, very clever technology that assists us all in understanding our general well-being, our health. It breaks it down into different compartments, different segments, so it's not just the cholesterol or the prostate thing. It also checks mental health, blood pressure, and all of those things. So it's as Craig has already said, it's part and parcel of our drive towards preventative care, encouraging people to go for those screenings and know what the problem is so that it can get sorted out. So I'm very, very excited about that and for 2025.
You heard it here first about the plans Profmed has for 2025. And remember, prevention is better than cure. That's more a note to self, actually. Go get checked, Samke. And just like that, we've come to the end of today's Profmed 2025 Benefits Showcase. I want to thank each and every one of our speakers for their insights, and of course, all of you who have joined us both online and in the studio for your time and engagement. This year is all about growth, innovation, and ensuring that we continue to provide the best possible healthcare solutions for South Africa's professionals. We hope you're as excited as we are about what lies ahead. And once again, thank you, stay safe, and see you next time.
Today, we write the world of tomorrow, leveraging 60 years of experience while spearheading the new. A delicate dance of wisdom and foresight, we are paving and pioneering the road that lies ahead, sharing a vision, an entrepreneurial spirit, and solutionist way of life. Our purpose is defined in the professionals we serve, an intelligent partner when you need us most. Investing time to design, build, and create value. We meet at the intersection of innovation and science, creativity and analytics. Together, we are that collective of professionals who dream, who challenge the norms and achieve the extraordinary. So let's keep leading the way, expanding our journey, lighting the path, with the peace of mind that your well-being is covered by a professional just like you, who shares your values, your investment, and your commitment to deliver every day with tomorrow imagined. We are Profmed, intelligent medical aid for professionals.